Hello, this is Tris from New England Milsurp, and I just wanted to do a little overview of my particular FAL. Just going to do a quick overview of the FAL's controls. At the hindquarters, you get the takedown release switch, which lets you break it in half for taking out the bolt and cleaning the insides. This is your safety. This is safe. This is fire. And if you're so lucky and so licensed, a fully automatic FAL would of course have the full auto option, which mine does not. Next, your charging handle. On a FAL, when the weapon has its bolt back, the charging handle can slide freely. It does not recoil, or it does not reciprocate while you are shooting. Once the weapon's charged, the handle just stays loose. To drop the bolt forward, check. The bolt's open, the magazine, the chamber is clear. If you pull this, actually let's keep it on that side. If you pull that lever down, that slides your bolt forward. Sometimes if you are loading dirty rounds, I've found, if the brass itself is grungy, you're shooting surplus, doing that will not always chamber around if the brass is grungy, so I usually charge it. But again, you can only charge it once the bolt is forward. So again, this brings the bolt forward. Charging handle is now locked in place and can be charged. One of the things I like about the FAL is that it works like a machine gun almost. I think that's one of the enjoyable things about shooting it, is just how that works. Next, beneath the bolt release is the magazine release. You just pull it toward the magazine and you can pop the magazine out. When you're loading the magazine back in, hook the little magazine catch into the receiver first and then push back. Again, that can easily come out by just grabbing the magazine, basically. Up at the front of the FAL, we have the gas dial. This lets you restrict or allow more gas to leave from the porting in the barrel to actuate the piston. And this is great if you're running different specs of ammunition or different surplus. Sometimes gives you different results. You can sort of fine-tune how much pressure you want cycling the action. And that's an interesting feature on a FAL. I kind of got it set and I haven't had to mess with it too much, but it lets you save some wear and tear as well if you're shooting hotter ammo. Though, of course, make sure you know what you're getting into. A FAL is a surplus military rifle from the 60s, so it's not really rated for any high-powered 308. Make sure you're shooting 7.62 through an original FAL. If you have a new one, it might be different. A new production one that might be different. Next, this is the cap for the gas piston. By turning this sideways, it'll pull out and the spring will shoot out, so just pay attention to it. But it also lets you flip it over and turn the FAL into a single shot weapon. It just deactivates the porting, and that's intended for firing rifle grenades, so that all the gas can be used to launch the grenade. But you just leave it like this. This is on its normal semi-auto operation. Now for the bipod. This one's very straightforward. No release. It just has a little nub that falls into place when the bipod's set at a 90-degree angle. I like this bipod. It's very simple, kind of classic utilitarian look. And it's pretty comfortable when it's on the foregrip as well. Again, probably personal preference for what you like. It's not a fancy competition or marksman's bipod, but it gets the job done and lets you stand your FAL up and look cool when you're not shooting it. And I suppose last but not least, and probably needs no introduction, your FAL's trigger, which you can probably guess what that does. It's a plunger style trigger, pretty basic, doesn't have a huge amount of slack, and probably not the crispest break. It's about what you'd expect. It's almost like shooting a squirt gun, the way the plunger works. And when you're ready to go, you have your handy carrying handle. I like this style. This is the StG 58 style carrying handle. Like many FALs, it's sort of a combination of a variety of different rifles that are all compatible. Mine is based off of a StG 58, and this one was set up by Enterprise Arms. The majority of the parts on this rifle are for the metric style FALs. I do have a stayer style straight stock. Most FALs have that classic humpback stock. I really like the cheek weld on this one. I think it works very well for me, but it's less iconic as far as FAL stocks go. It's pretty standard FAL grip. I have regular magazines. I don't know how much variety you get there, but it is a standard 20 rounds FAL magazine. I do have the bipod with the appropriate foregrip with bipod cuts. Can't recall exactly where this style was used most oftenly, but I do like it. You get a bipod, and I like the feel of it. A lot of variety in FAL foregrips though, so sort of up to you. One of the neat things on a FAL is the adjustable gas system. You can choose just how much excess gas you're venting, and that gives you control over the action depending on the ammunition you're using, whether it seems to be running a little hot, or if the ammo's a little older, maybe it's just not firing as good. You can dial it down and make sure all that gas is cycling your action. Kind of neat. You can also flip around the gas piston itself and completely cut it off, which is used for launching rifle grenades, so that all of that gas is being used to accelerate the projectile. This will also convert the FAL to basically a single shot when you're operating it like that. The barrel of my FAL is actually a G1 barrel. It has no threads. Most FALs are fitted with a muzzle device, and this one on the G1 actually has a slot-on muzzle device, and I think the bayonet actually slots on over that muzzle device, so a bit of an interesting setup there. I kind of like the look of it, but I don't get any kind of muzzle device, which leaves a little bit out in my case, but it still shoots fine. The crown on the barrel looks good, and the bore is quite nice as well. One of the other things that I really like on the FAL are the simple sights. It's a peep sight. The rear sight can be adjusted for distance. The front sight can also be adjusted, but you need a FAL tool. It's a little 2-pin tool that lets you screw it in or out, and that I believe lets you adjust. But the peep sights on the FAL I find to be very easy to use. Not super precise, but that's sort of the nature of peep sights. But in general, shooting at about 100 yards, it works great for me. I really like it. It's comfortable, easy to pick up. The cheek weld, like I mentioned, is excellent on this stock. And the grip I find is nice and beefy and really gives me a good strong feel on it. Some things like the PTR and Set Me's, the grip's a little thinner, and I don't really like that as much. I don't find it as comfortable. My hands are, I don't think all that large, but I definitely like a good size grip. The trigger on it is pretty nice, but you know, it's nothing fancy. It's not a match grade trigger. It is that sort of plunger style trigger, but it's a battle rifle. It's always worked well for my plinking needs, and I'm sure it'll work well in more dire circumstances if need be. One thing to note on a metric FAL, the magazines have this short little nub. It's a little stamped portion that is your magazine catch, whereas an inch FAL will have a welded on tab. It's much more substantial. A metric FAL magazine will fit into an inch FAL receiver, but it will be kind of wobbly, and I wouldn't trust it staying in there. And you just can't get an inch FAL magazine into a metric FAL. There's not cut out for that. So just make sure you know what you're using, which type of magazine your receiver was intended for. One thing that's sort of interesting is the bolt in my FAL. I can show you on the takedown video. The bolt is actually an inch pattern bolt with the sand cuts in it that the British L1A ones used. And I believe the Israeli FALs also had that style bolt carrier. But yeah, this gun's a whole mishmash of parts, and well, that's one of the cool things I think about FALs. You can get a lot of customization. Oh, the sling, by the way, is an original Belgian or FN sling. But yeah, it's just a real interesting rifle, and I'm happy to have it. I hope you guys like learning a little bit about one of my favorite rifles, and if you like the channel, feel free to like and subscribe, comment. Thanks. Have a good day.